This is Epic Book Recaps, a podcast that offers complimentary audio summaries of influential nonfiction books, making learning a smarter experience. Measure What Matters by Doerr. The journey towards the creation of a successful global brand is paved with the strategic implementation of objectives and key results, OKRs, a methodology that has proven to be an effective tool in leading large corporations to their respective industry peaks. This story began in 1999, as narrated by Doerr, when he encountered a pair of young entrepreneurs, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who were armed with their groundbreaking ideas for Google. Their pitch was compelling and succinct, yet the fact that their venture was the 18th of its kind in an already saturated market would have deterred most investors from taking the leap. Despite these odds, Doerr recognized a certain clarity of vision in these two young men that had the potential to stand out amongst the crowd. They had a solid understanding of their product, its potential, and the goals they wanted to achieve, yet they lacked the requisite management experience to fully realize their vision. Therefore, having invested $11 million in the fledgling startup, Doerr took it upon himself to visit the team and share his wealth of knowledge acquired during his tenure as an engineer at Intel. It was at Intel where he learned from Andy Grove, a leader who remarkably combined technological expertise with exceptional managerial acumen. The tool that had brought immense success to Andy Grove was known as OKRs. Doerr defines objectives as precisely delineated goals, nothing more and nothing less. Over time, he discovered that an enterprise's ability to clearly define its objectives can significantly improve its operations, helping it avoid the usual pitfalls of vague and poorly executed strategies. On the other hand, key results are the tools used to track progress and measure the attainment of these objectives. While OKRs are invaluable, they should not be mistaken as a replacement for sound leadership, effective decision-making mechanisms, and a culture that fosters creativity within the workplace. In the case of Google, the proper implementation of these tools cultivated a culture characterized by resilience and transparency, recognizing the vital roles played by each employee while motivating them to view their contributions as integral to the company's ultimate success. OKRs serve as the adhesive that binds all workplace facets together, thereby ensuring that every department effectively contributes to the company's results. In simpler terms, this business management strategy guides organizations in selecting courses of action and seeing them through to completion. However, OKRs are not merely a tool for organizing workplace functions. They also serve as a valuable instrument for analyzing success. It is not sufficient to merely admire successful individuals or brands from a distance. It is essential to delve deeper and understand the processes that facilitated their success. The world's wealthiest individuals did not amass their fortunes by sheer luck, but rather through audacity, courage, and the willingness to venture where others would not. Sustainable wealth creation requires a deep understanding of the intricacies and techniques of the business world, as well as the strategies necessary to establish a successful brand. Although many people possess potentially lucrative business ideas, they often lack the knowledge on how to initiate or sell their concepts to the world. The business sphere is an intensely competitive environment that demands constant alertness and adaptability. Through the systematic application of OKRs, it becomes feasible to trace the origins of business principles and connect them to the ideas propagated by Peter Drucker. Drucker posited that workplaces should foster a sense of community based on mutual trust and respect among workers. Over time, business executives started adopting this perspective. However, it was Andy Grove who elevated this model to a global scale by integrating it with theories of manufacturing production. He posited that productivity should be measured based on output rather than increased activity. To establish such a model, corporations should conduct assessments on a quarterly or monthly basis, adopting a more aggressive and aspirational approach to business operations. Furthermore, they should abandon the traditional hierarchical structure in favor of a more flexible and open model. Andy Grove was a proponent of encouraging employees to publicly display their objectives, thereby helping them find meaning in their work and fostering motivation. When Intel was faced with fierce competition from Motorola in 1980, the company did not retreat or panic. Instead, under the leadership of Andy Grove, the company underwent a transformative process that restructured Intel's business model. As a result, Intel managed to maintain its position as the market leader and has continued to thrive ever since. In light of this, it becomes apparent that crises do not necessarily lead to the downfall of great companies. Instead, they serve to fortify them. Therefore, it is paramount that companies develop effective business management skills. Choosing the appropriate objectives is a crucial part of this process. Executives adopting the OKR strategy must have a clear understanding of the whats and whys, meaning they need to identify and outline the most critical elements of their objectives. Furthermore, it is essential to openly discuss these objectives, both verbally and through actions. Most importantly, employees must have a clear understanding of these goals and the motivators behind them, requiring executives to communicate as clearly as possible. The introduction of this strategy may be a new concept for your employees, so consider gradually integrating it into your operations by implementing OKRs on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. The frequency should depend on your current business culture and the volatility of your market. Regardless of the time frame you choose, it is crucial to ensure that the timeline for assessing progress is clearly defined. While establishing objectives, it is vital to keep in mind that you should not compromise your brand's reputation, quality, or safety. As such, John Doerr recommends setting key results that will guide your output. The process is not merely about meeting deadlines, but about ensuring that your team does not overlook steps that could potentially compromise quality. Setting anchors for your objectives facilitates the assessment of your achievements. Clarity regarding your goals is crucial. For instance, if your goal is to win a race, your key results should not simply state, "train daily." A more effective KR would specify the number of daily training sessions, the time frame, and the specific training strategy for each session. During the objective setting process, it is crucial to avoid the pitfall of overextending yourself by setting more goals than you can realistically accomplish. Ensure that your objectives are lean, which will make it easier to filter out distractions and concentrate on the most essential goals. When motivated and ready to take action, avoid the temptation to tackle all challenges simultaneously. Instead, break down your challenges into manageable segments, establish the necessary steps to solve them, and proceed systematically. Several small tasks are typically less daunting than one large task. Upon identifying objectives and outlining key results, the next step involves aligning the actions of your teams or employees with these goals. Although this may sound straightforward, it often proves to be a challenging task, and numerous companies have failed in this regard. Often, productivity suffers due to employees lacking clarity regarding their core responsibilities. There are two main methods to align objectives, both of which require open and transparent goals. The first approach involves the CEO outlining their OKRs and cascading them as objectives for their team leaders. Subsequently, the team leaders set key results for these imposed goals and cascade objectives for their team members. For instance, the owner of a basketball team may choose revenue increase as their main objective. They may decide to achieve this through 2 KRs, filling up the seats during games and leading the team to win the league. Naturally, these KRs become the primary objectives of the coach and the club's PR team. The coach may then choose to strengthen the team's attacking and defensive abilities as viable KRs to achieve their objectives. It is then up to them to delegate their KRs to the team's trainers, who will facilitate the achievement of the coach's goals through specialized training sessions designed to sharpen the player's offensive and defensive skills. Although this top-down approach to OKRs represents a significant improvement over the absence of OKRs, it may inadvertently hinder productivity. This approach lacks flexibility, as it is difficult to alter key results midway. Additionally, it is unlikely that employees will invest their complete effort into achieving an imposed objective that diverges from their personal goals. A rigidly cascaded system can be detrimental to an organization, as it may suppress valuable ideas and observations. Considering the limitations of the top-down approach, it may be advantageous to explore a bottom-up strategy that affords employees some degree of freedom in choosing their OKRs. However, it is essential to ensure that each individual's OKRs are aligned with the company's overarching objectives, which can be achieved by making all OKRs, including yours, publicly accessible. With a flexible, decentralized, and transparent OKR structure in place, the next step involves monitoring and accounting for improvements. Depending on the size of your workforce, this may require the use of OKR assessment software. However, it is crucial to ensure that OKR reports and assessments are accessible to all and do not exclude anyone. Leaders must communicate both the reasons behind their objectives, the why, and the objectives themselves, the what. Their employees need more than just milestones for motivation. They yearn for a sense of purpose, a comprehension of how their goals align with the broader mission of the organization. This approach imbues employees with a sense of purpose as they come to understand that the company's performance is dependent upon their daily activities. Thus, if you believe that an effective OKR management system would benefit your business, it would be advisable to opt for a system that offers seamless access. Additionally, these platforms promote internal networking, as individuals with overlapping goals can collaborate to expedite the process. As you track your OKRs, it becomes easier to evaluate the viability of your objectives and strategies. Based on your progress report, you can decide whether to stick to your current course, modify your objectives or key results, add new OKRs, or abandon the current strategy. Consequently, OKR assessments enable you to identify areas of weakness and devise strategies to address them. If discontinuation or modification of your current strategy is deemed the best course of action, it is crucial to inform those whose success is dependent upon yours. Even upon the successful attainment of your goals, it is important to evaluate your performance. This can be achieved through scoring your performance, self-assessment, and reflection on your work. Scoring involves assigning a grade to highlight achievements. Many OKR management platforms offer scales that score performances based on the individual's rate of completion. Through self-assessment, you can account for factors that might have complicated or diluted the objective, providing a more comprehensive picture of the story behind the numbers. This allows you to evaluate your performance and efforts based on the actual conditions that might have facilitated or hindered success. Reflective evaluation helps identify what could have been done differently and how this knowledge can be applied to future endeavors. In the pursuit of greatness, there is no room for the notion of impossibility. Rather, the concept of impossibility merely denotes phenomena that we do not yet fully comprehend or explore. Greatness is not achieved by settling for mediocrity or playing it safe. Therefore, in this era of rapid technological advancement, your company requires goal-stretching power. This mindset was instrumental in the success of Microsoft, which established the audacious goal of making computers a household item at a time when such an idea was considered unrealistic. Google also adopted this approach when it set out to organize and present all the world's data in a meaningful way. The lesson to be learned from these companies and their propensity for grandiose goals is that pushing the boundaries of possibility can ultimately lead to greatness. Consequently, it is no wonder that the innovators of today are leaving no stone unturned in their quest to advance the human race to the next stage. By challenging yourself to exceed your perceived limits, you cultivate a mindset and a trajectory that promote growth. Here's how it works. The act of stretching your objectives instills a sense of urgency and motivation that energizes your actions and propels you forward. It is important to note that your team or company should comprise one or more individuals who are self-driven and naturally inclined to go the extra mile. However, some individuals may require an external push, and your ability to articulate your objectives and present them compellingly can inspire your colleagues to perform at their best. Therefore, you should set goals that encourage your employees to stretch their imaginations. Employees with complex roles or tasks generally achieve their objectives more quickly. However, it is important to assess the capacity of your team to handle stress before imposing substantial goals, or they may become overwhelmed. You should analyze your team's current capacity and resilience, then gradually introduce objectives that exceed its comfort zone. Of course, failure is an inherent part of the process, and there are circumstances in life where even the most careful planning fails. However, the experience gained from overcoming challenges, including mistakes, can cultivate resilience within you and your team. The process of pushing your employees to stretch their capacity for success involves a system that consistently tracks their progress. When it comes to performance tracking, traditional annual performance reviews fall short. Instead, you need a system that keeps you in touch with your team's psychological well-being and perseverance, enabling you to identify and address issues before they worsen. The need for continuous performance management models and systems is becoming increasingly apparent as executives recognize the importance of staying attuned to their workforce's proficiency. This model utilizes a tool that facilitates conversations, feedback and recognition, CFRs, and works in tandem with OKRs to make objectives more attainable. Moreover, the advent of OKRs and CFRs has shifted the focus of compensation away from the reward for a good job conversation, especially since it has been established that task completion does not necessarily equate to superior performance. However, it is important to note that it is impossible to completely sever the link between compensation and performance reward. A balance must be found with the help of CFRs, which can help identify truly high-performing employees. To implement this model, you must engage employees in individual conversations where you or your team leaders address issues that could impede growth. You should also establish a feedback system that encourages continuous and real-time reviews. A more effective approach is to ensure that feedback is specific and occurs between peers, empowering employees to review managers and executives. You should adopt a recognition system that appreciates employees' contributions. This can be achieved through the following steps. First, implement peer-to-peer recognition to foster a culture of gratitude among peers. Second, clearly state the individual's achievements instead of resorting to generic Employee of the Month awards. Third, enhance recognition efforts by publishing the success story on the company's blog or newsletter. Fourth, consistently recognize individuals, teams, departments, and the company's policies or culture. At the same time, it is important to remember that colleagues will be more willing to share their feedback and feelings if they feel safe in their workplace and trust each other. Sometimes, executives find themselves grappling with the repercussions of poor decisions, ineffective strategies, or subpar execution. In many of these cases, the issue lies not with the strategy, but with the culture of the company. This presents a potential obstacle to the execution of objectives. Therefore, the question arises, what is the ideal culture for a company looking to adopt the OKR model? From what we have learned so far, OKRs ensure goal alignment, transparency of processes, and measurability of results. When combined with CRs, which fosters accountability and communication, these tools together foster a positive and healthy workplace culture. At companies like Google, the use of both strategies fosters a sense of team spirit, as groups collectively bear the responsibility for achieving goals and individuals take responsibility for key results. In essence, collaboration promotes diligence, especially when responsibilities are shared. You could also incorporate a technique known as pulsing, which John Doerr suggests can provide a clearer understanding of which aspects of your ecosystem require immediate attention. To do this, you should ask your employees a range of simple, broad questions that provide insight into the state of your workplace culture. By doing so, you can avert potential crises before they escalate, rather than waiting until a talented but discontented employee resigns before identifying a problem. Replace business processes that prioritize short-term success with ones that place long-term legacy as the ultimate goal. The transition to a new organizational culture is a delicate process that may alienate some people. This can be mitigated by gradually introducing new ideas while leading by example. The benefits of implementing OKRs and CRs provide ample justification for taking the risk in pursuit of the desired level of success. It is worth noting that the road to success is not for the faint of heart. Quitting is not an option for winners, and those who give up easily may find success elusive. Every challenge encountered should be viewed as a learning experience to be embraced. Successful individuals are not defined by public opinion. Rather, they are the ones who shape the market and determine consumer desires. The only way to adapt to the growing emphasis on a collaborative culture, which has proven to be an effective response to today's dynamic business landscape, is to adopt the flexible, transparent, and effective OKR model. OKRs guide you on the path to greatness. The importance of OKRs cannot be overstated. They are essential for individual functionality in any setting. The world's greatest minds all have objectives and key results. Your objectives are the foundation upon which you build a brand. Only after successfully establishing this foundation can you begin to set key results. Although this principle has been largely focused on its efficacy in both small and large companies such as Intel and Google, the values associated with goal pursuit can be applied to your everyday life as you strive to align your objectives with anticipated results. Remember your primary goals, plan strategically, focus on the outcome, and achieve your desired objectives. Do this explain the OKRs principle to your colleagues, focusing not only on the benefits to your project but also on their personal growth. Engage in regular conversations with everyone about their challenges and victories to gain a better understanding of the overall mood and state of the team.